Hey, beautiful human, thank you so much for clicking on our conversation with Why Don't We? Fallin is the first of many original songs to come from these guys. Please give it your ear. There's a link in the description below. They're going to dissect Fallin and give you a taste of what's to come. Please leave your honest feedback in the comment section below. If you like the video, hit like. And even if you hate us, please subscribe. Okay, I think they're in the Zoom room. I appreciate you.
Let's do this. Zach Show.
Hi, guys.
And it's Daniel. Daniel! Or Dan. What's poppin'?
Oh, Corbin, I like the hair.
I just wanted to get all of your
Look at that hair.
Yo, okay, so by the way, obviously 4 of you. Zach's not here. He's sick.
You got strep.
Sending positive energy his way and healthy vibes.
We're all negative, so we're good.
Okay, got it. Have you guys been testing for COVID? You and your sweater there, Daniel?
Dude, I just got a thingy up my nose like 20 minutes ago.
This was our like 6th time getting tested, I think.
I did it for you.
Wow, thank you so much. I know. We're so close right now.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's really weird not to be with y'all, and we have a release. Congratulations on Fallin.
Thank you so much.
And there is a difference between the hard G and the N apostrophe, correct?
For sure.
nailed it.
I'm glad you noticed it.
Well, see, falling ain't got no swag. Falling.
It's
I got
easy
that
off the
swag.
tongue. Falling.
Yeah.
Falling.
Yeah, there's a roll. Wow, I really like those glasses you got there, Jack. Can you see me?
No, I can't see anything.
I didn't think so. Wait, so, okay, a lot to dissect here, but the last time I saw y'all, we were hanging out in Memphis, and you're incredible human beings. You came to St. Jude, and you paid a visit there, but you also played an amazing show across the river in Mississippi. But while we were hanging out backstage, Daniel, you specifically played me so much music. My question to you is, will any of that music see the light of day, and was Fallin even in that batch of songs?
Dude, you just asked a great question. So I actually played you, I know I played you one song that's on the album. And I'm sure
I think more. I think it was like
I think a
4.
couple of them actually made it on the album. But, man, you were one of the people, honestly, that, along with fans and along with other friends, that when I played that music for you, Zach, you were so excited, and you knew that that was just from us, that we didn't work with anyone else on it. And to see you that excited and love it that much, I was like, damn, all right, well, why don't we just put this out? Like, this is,
Yeah.
And I think we've always dreamed of doing that. We've always dreamed of putting out music that we made solely from us. So the whole album is going to be that, just us on the writing and production. And, it's honest now. So I'm really excited. But Falling was actually the last song we wrote. So we didn't have Falling when I played you that music, Falling.
Wow.
But that one came, God, so late in the game. It was
Yeah,
we got
literally
everything
the
else
last.
done.
We were like, we were headed to the studio to work on a different song. He had this crazy melody and song idea pop into his head on the way to the studio, and he got there and he was like, yo, boys, we need to write this song instead. And then like an hour later. the song
Yeah,
was done.
but as you know, I played you the music. It's all very diverse, and Fallen to me really seemed to be the song that tied it all together. So it was magic.
Fallin was written by you guys. Like, do you take it to somebody else? Do you do it completely in house?
We,
It was
uh,
it was just us 3, and then
3 in a room. And Daniel produced the whole
it.
thing.
We worked with a mixer for some of it, but yeah.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
the whole album is that.
Yeah.
A kind of fun fact too. We actually Fallen was one of the first songs that we fully recorded at my little home studio. Because of COVID, we couldn't go to the studio that we were working at, and we had to figure it out. And I was like, I got my home studio. We can get a mic in there. It's soundproof enough. And so all the guys came over, and we just recorded it there. Jack actually had COVID, so we had to go into because luckily my studio is separate from my house.
Yeah, I wasn't the only
I
one
think-
just saying.
I think it was
all
me.
4 of us.
Oh,
had it.
yeah.
I think it was me and Jack at the time that had COVID.
Yeah,
And
and
we
so-
were like, yeah, how do we approach this?
So we had like Lysol, wipes, masks, everything set up. So you would walk in, spray all that down when you were done, and then the next person would come in, and it was just this.
Whoa.
It worked out
Yeah.
though. We didn't give it to each other after that, and it was
Yeah,
like.
and then we had a smash single called "Fallin" that will come out tomorrow.
But okay, this is a huge accomplishment for a group in your position to be able to write and produce all of your own music, and it's essentially 4 years in the making, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, one way I've kind of viewed it is when we came together, we didn't have like group training necessarily. We didn't, feel like a lot of people have a lot of time to. What's the word they always use for that? You have like
You go to boot camp or something?
yeah, in a sense,
Yeah,
and
sort of.
you kind of like, oh, there's this word that they always use in the industry, but for us it was funny because we were just like, we all sing and play instruments and want to make a band. When we came into this, I think we kind of overthought it and took it a bit too serious pretty quick. And we're like, okay, now we got to dance. Now we got to sound a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to discredit any of our old music because at the end of the day, we always would only come out with music we loved. But there was this whole other side of us that we weren't showing the world because we were overthinking everything so much. And because of people like you and our fans telling us, listen, like at the end of the day, music is just honesty and expression and hopefully catchy, and that's what this album is. So
Yeah, and when we first signed with Atlantic, they had us in with some of the best songwriters and producers, and we got to like really pick
You
their
have Ed Sheeran wrote a song or two.
Yeah.
I mean,
We, like,
fuck.
working
Learn
with
a
like
lot
the
from
best of the best, and I feel like we learned so much, and this album is a product of that, learning.
You should know that like that day hanging out in your dressing room listening to the music, because we were together like for hours. We listened to a lot of music. It stuck with me. And you know something, I've seen John a few times since, and every human being at Atlantic that I talked to about you guys ever, I've been praising the music you played and really kind of cramming down anybody who listens throughout that like it's different because it's you. It's 100% from your head and your heart, and it's it's different. I mean, you guys have incredibly crafted records, and you have some of the most catchy songs and songs I listen to every day still. 8 Letters, Talk. I mean, the list goes on and on. But this is different, but yet the same. You take what you've learned from making those, and now you're telling your own written stories.
Since those songs have come out, like we've gotten to tour the world and like see places and meet tons of people and like been through relationships, and we have stories to tell, and like you can hear that in this music. Like it's literally, if you want to know into our personal lives, listen to the music, because that's what it is. Like it's,
and it was a bit tough going into a session with somebody who hadn't seen what the fans were looking for on the road, because we were on the road for 3 years, and every night we're seeing what fans loved, what fans didn't love, what we could add. And like you had 3 years to think, like, I mean, because at the end of the day, that's what the music is best for, is performing it live. Mm-hmm. And when you go into a session with someone that's never seen that, it's really hard to get them to understand. And so at the end of the day, it came down to us just being like, why are we, in a sense, it felt like we needed it at the time. And we got to this point where we're like, do we really need to go to someone? It was like, this point of just being like, let's just confidently like do what we do. This is what we do. We make music.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time, right? And it takes learning from others and soaking. I mean, there has to have been a session or a series of sessions that stick out to you, Daniel, that you learn the most impactful. I mean, a song, the creation of a song that wasn't this.
I mean, and it's out here, it's really hard to find solid validation. And it's, it's this really weird, blurry line between not understanding if they're saying they like the song because they're just saying it to be on your good side, or if they really genuinely like the song, or on the other side, not really giving an opinion because maybe they did like it and are like oddly jealous about it. And like, it's really hard to get a defined opinion of the music. And so at the end of the day, we're like, there's 5 of us. If we all 5 like the song and know our fans the best and think that they will like it the best, then we're probably in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nobody's closer to them than you. So how does a record start now? compared to before?
It's kind of different.
Yeah, it really depends. Like with Fallin, that started with, you know, Daniel on the way to the studio hearing a melody in his head and then taking a voice memo of it. And actually, if you want to hear that, we just dropped a webisode episode on our YouTube channel of the making of Falling. And so then it kind of goes into detail about the making. And at the very end, it's like the last 30 seconds, there's like an audio clip of the voice memo from in Daniel's car, and you can hear where the melody started, and then you can kind of compare it to that part in the actual song and hear, you know, what we ended up finishing up on. And there's no words or anything. It's just like ooze and like this very, you know, raw vocal.
It's very jumbly, but
it's a cool little insight. So it started there, and then he was making a beat in the studio, and then, you know, the idea for the black skinhead drums, the Kanye drums to be thrown on the track. We were like, yo, these drums hit hard and they're legendary. So like, whoa, they sound like, tried that. It was magic.
And lyrically, us three, we all wrote the lyrics together, and we had never had a song fall into our lap so quick. We wrote it in probably an hour, all the lyrics.
It was crazy. Last song on the album, we were like...
It's interesting because most of the time, like, we really tend to, like, overthink, like, writing, and we're like, is this the best melody in this part? And, you know, is the concept fully there and all this stuff? And with Fallin, it was like, so, it was like, it wrote itself. Like, it was... It was really cool. Obviously happening in the right way, and we just let it happen. It was beautiful.
Will you not start writing lyrics until you have a song like produced, like until you understand what?
It depends. Yeah, I mean, it honestly, I feel like we like to follow the song as much as we can, and just like wherever it takes us, we're gonna go. And with Fallin, we were actually working on a different song that day in the studio, a different song that's on the album. We were gonna finish recording it. And to kind of buy time, I just made a little loop on my laptop of like literally just of the beat. And I was like, I sang the melody for the guys and was like, let's just write this. And they were like, of course, this is magic. Like, it was just so quick. But with that, it was like this little loop. And then later that night, I really like filled it out and like finished the music side of it. But it depends, you know. One song we did on the album, it's on the piano. It has strings on it, which is gonna be sick. But I remember we wrote the song just on the piano and sat on that song.
Yeah, we literally wrote it just vocal. And piano.
And we actually played it for our friend Michael Pollack, who's a crazy writer.
A genius.
Oh my, love that guy. One of the coolest guys. We had a session with him that day. We wrote it before the session. When he came in, we played it for him, and he cried.
Yeah.
And was like, this is beautiful. And so that was a good example of really good validation, because it'd be really hard to fake crying, you know? Yeah. So we were like, this is special. Moment.
And then we wrote a great song with him that day, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Somewhere, but
yeah. You wrote an additional song with him, or did you take that song to him to beef up?
No, we wrote another song with him that day.
The session that day was for another song, but we just got there early and wrote.
Yeah. But with that song, like a year later, we put strings on it. So it really depends on the song, I guess.
Hey, I got to hit pause real quick to tell you about my favorite streaming service, Peacock. It is the new streaming service from NBC Universal. Great entertainment is finally here, my friend. It's got hundreds and hundreds of hit movies, thousands of episodes of shows that you love. I'm currently binging AP Bio Season 3. If you're a Bravo fan, Peacock is for you. Also, they have Superstore and a ton more. Plus, you got timeless classics and timely updates and news from people you trust, like the folks at the Today Show. Al Roker, I love you so much. Oh, and best of all, everything that Peacock has is free. So why not? Stream now. The best of streaming, the best of TV. You can watch for free and upgrade for more on your TV, tablet, or phone. I'm telling you, Peacock is the right move. PeacockTV.com. Go there to download and start streaming now. I love it. Will the song you do with Michael make it to the album?
Not this album, but
But it's a good song. It might make its way out in the future.
We wrote at least 100 songs in this break. So, you know, this album is just the start of something new.
So out of the 100, how many were written just by you guys? Thank you for the High School Musical reference.
Of course, I know you do.
I mean,
We've definitely written
There's-
100,
yeah, there's at least 100.
like just
that
us.
are-
But we've also probably written 100 with people too. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
so
There's a lot of songs out there.
many songs.
Have you figured out a formula for what works amongst your group?
Yeah, I mean, there's like a structure to how music should flow. I think that's important. You know, like verse 1 should probably come first, and then a pre-chorus usually feels good. And you know, like sticking to that is usually good, but not always the case. Sometimes
We also know each other's voices really well at this point. Like it's just like, oh, Zach is gonna murder this hook.
Yeah,
like it's just obvious, and like we write for that a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes too, it, you know, some random magic can happen. Like there's this one song on the album that I played you, that you might even remember it. We recorded in a hotel, our demo of it.
Yes.
Me and him wrote it. And we actually kept his demo and my demo vocal from this hotel in the middle of Atlanta on record because it was so special.
Yeah, we were literally like screaming. So we had just finished up a Europe tour, and our voices were like absolutely shot. And we had a layover in the Newark airport, and
New Jersey.
we were sitting there at our gate and wrote the whole song right there. And
we're like trying to move our bags. I'm like, bro, listen to this.
We were so excited about it that we like had to just get a demo of it that night and see how it sounded. And we were like screaming at the top of our lungs in the hotel room in this like Holiday Inn in Atlanta. And we kept that same vocal, and it's still on the album. It's pretty wild.
And we couldn't beat it. Like it's just sometimes it's magic.
It sounds awesome.
I mean, there seems to be like there's a different level of investment when these records come directly from you.
Yeah.
And you know that they're going to be heard by whoever's above or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Was there a period of time where you were writing records for the group that weren't getting cut or making the album?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there's a lot of different reasons for that. One of them being our own insecurity. One of them being the industry and the pressure of, you know, meeting this bar of pop music, because pop is so competitive, you know? But I think there is like a balance to the competitiveness where you also do have to be honest and really, you know, honest with your music.
Yeah.
And this album is that for us, you know, it's us, but it also is, God, it's banging.
Yeah. And I think for us, like Billie Eilish was a great example of that. Like coming out of the jump, her and her brother, like you knew. And I feel like that's a big reason that, you know, she is who she is and that Phineas is who he is. Like they came out of the jump doing everything on their own, and they had this very unique vibe, and you could tell that everything that was put out was real and genuine, and it worked for him. And like even Shawn Mendes gave us some great advice after a show we saw him at in Atlanta actually too.
Oh yeah.
And he just told us like, you know, you guys are the masters of your own destiny, and like you guys should do whatever you guys want to do at the end of the day. Because he's like, you know, you can go through all the promo and all of everything else, and if at the end of the day you're not getting up on stage and absolutely loving, you know, every part about performing, then like you're not doing it to your full capacity. And so that was like
that
really
kind of stuck with
message to us. Like,
do you think you were ready to write and produce your own records 3 years ago?
No.
And that's another great point. Definitely not.
Yeah, it takes time and it takes confidence, and I mean it's like it's perfect timing, because like I said, 3 years ago we hadn't been in band training, or we hadn't been we just came together and we're like, let's be a band. And, you know, in the pop world, I feel like there's so much like work that people don't even know is behind the scenes. And for us, that was like a learning curve we didn't even know about when we were new, you know? But for us, we had the craziest learning curve because we went on tour for 3 years, you know? So it wasn't 3 years of getting ready to tour. We just went out and did it, and it taught us so much.
you learn different stuff, and also at the same time, you take on different sessions with different producers and different writers. You soak in stuff. You get to there's a whole host of stuff. But Daniel, you've always been incredible. You all have been musical, but Daniel, you've been watching you play the cello on stage or whatever that is, the bass, whatever. What is it, cello, right?
Yeah, cello.
So baller. It is. It is the highlight, and I've seen your show a few times now, and that's probably an understatement.
Yeah, wait till you see this new show. Like, I don't think you know, Corbin plays the bass. we got the drums coming out.
Jonah's got like a one-man.
What?
Jack plays the electric and piano. Like, but the thing is, this is what we were talking about. Is prior, it was almost this like, you know, it felt like we had to fit this mold of like, we need to dance, we need to do this, and you know, I think that was just kind of the pressure of the industry and like kind of feeling like this is what has worked.
Yeah.
But people like you and our fans come up and are like, we all know you play instruments. Why are you not playing instruments?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, you even saying that, it's like, that is the perfect case in point of us being like, we all play instruments. And you even seem like you were just surprised to hear that we did, you know? And it's like, man, like, it's time to just really show, you know, we've like gotten to this point where like, who are we really? And I think we figured it out.
So when's the album coming?
That's a good question with COVID and all.
We don't have a set release date. We're hoping sometime the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, shortly after that. No date yet. But
We're
just know it's on the way.
Focused on the single Fallin right now in the video, and there might be another single following that up. And we'll see.
By the way, Corbin, I really do like the hair. The brown is a good look.
Dude, thanks, man. We're twins now, bro.
Yeah, is that natural?
So it's a little bit darker than my natural. My natural is like a light brown. But, you know, I felt like the dark brown. I don't know. I was blonde for 4 years. I was like, all right, how can I switch it up? How can I? Yeah, we basically just swapped. Yeah, I was just like, how can I switch it up? And I didn't want to change my hairstyle. I just have had this for as long as I have, and it works for me. And I was like, you know,
Oh, y'all look good.
Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever. But yeah, I'm glad you like it. Thanks, man.
Y'all look good.
My mom likes it.
Oh, that's really all that matters.
You guys mentioned a couple times about creating what your fans want and what your fans liked. What is that? Like, what have you learned that your fans react positively to?
Our fans love bouncy music.
Yeah, music you can dance to.
And
you know,
genuinosity or however.
Yeah. We got a good mix on the album, I would say, of like, you know, heartbreak songs or that, you know, ballads. But
there's one that's super honest about like anxiety and stuff, and I feel like fans will resonate.
Yeah. And then the flip side, I feel like we really haven't had just like super energetic music like this new music is. It's just that if you're gonna be energetic, it's like go for that, you know. So this new album is very energetic when for sure.
And Fallin comes out of the jump like super in your face. The black skinhead drums are iconic, and like so it that felt like the song to lead it because it's so out of the jump.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you have another single in mind before Fallin, or did you kind of feel like you hadn't written that single yet?
No, definitely had. We had a few singles off of the album that all felt like singles. The thing was, the album's really diverse. There's a lot of different sounds on the album. And I feel like the cohesivity of it is that we are the leading voice in melodies and lyrics. So it's still cohesive, but very diverse. And we needed a song that kind of tied it all together. And Fallin really felt like that song.
Really
that was
did.
like, this is an intro, just a statement. And two, it ties everything together really well.
Didn't you have a song, Falling with a G, on 8 letters?
Yeah, we did.
Were you worried about confusing people with the names?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. But in all honesty, I think, you know, part of the reason we said screw it was because I feel like, one, the Falling that we put on 8 Letters album is a great song, totally different vibe. But also I was like, you know, I feel like this song is going to be bigger than that. And, you know, if people search up And I mean, like, one of the main lyrics of the song is falling. Like, there's a section where that word kind of repeats whenever you hear it a few times.
It like had to be the name.
So it was like, you know, people are gonna look that up, and we thought it would honestly probably confuse people more if they're searching that up and the song had a different name than, you know, what the main kind of lyric is. And so, you know, we were like, plus we didn't play our song Falling on tour at all. So like some of our fans were like, oh, you guys are playing that song Dust. And so I guess this is kind of a tribute to that song, but like the better version of it.
Yeah.
Now, why was it important to take the break? Do you feel like, looking back, that was needed? Do you wish you would have done it differently?
What do you mean? I didn't understand this concept of a break because it really wasn't that long of a
It
break.
was a social media break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were completely off socials for like 8-9 months. Like, we really stayed pretty quiet.
It was pretty great.
I mean,
yeah.
Pretty needed.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was
I've
in-
also lost all concept of time, to be honest with you.
towards the end of last year, our fans like started a hashtag on Twitter, and they were like, why don't we needs a break or needs a rest, because they were seeing that we were tired from touring, and we were like, really? I mean, I don't know, but it just kind of lined up with what we wanted to do in terms of really like getting down and like making this album and getting, I don't know, just I think stepping back from social media. There's really great sides to social media, and then there's also negative sides to social media.
Yeah.
And it was nice to kind of take a step back and just focus on why we're doing this, which is the music.
Yeah, it was like we were just living normal life for a second, not having to worry about. I mean, I guess normally you would have a phone on you and have an Instagram and all, but like if I go on Instagram, it's kind of chaotic, you know.
Yeah.
So I deleted the app completely. I think we all did, just deleted them, and it was nice. And I think we wouldn't have this album had we been like
On it.
having this big
Well,
presence. and
also we
pressure.
were originally planning on coming back in like March or April from like a 2-month break, and then COVID happened, and I went home to Minnesota for 2 months, and everything was just put on hold. So kind of crazy, because we wouldn't have gotten Fallin or a couple of the other favorite songs of the album if COVID hadn't happened. So I mean, if there's a silver lining there.
It really is a blessing in disguise because you get a chance to go home, be normal human beings. You don't have to work. You can live a real life. You can be inspired by things that, like, I don't know, your fellow common man is inspired by.
I got some scuba gear for my pool.
What?
If you get bored in quarantine, it's like $200 on Amazon. It'll change your life.
Yeah, he has like a 6-foot pool too, so.
Not deep at all.
If you
but
ever go to Daniel's house and you can't find him, just look in the bottom of the pool.
Wait, do you have like an air tank or do you have like a straw thing that leads to the top?
tank, and man, I'm telling you, you sit down there for 10 minutes, you think some crazy thoughts.
Wait, hold on. So you do have an air tank down there?
Yes, sir.
I think
What?
we're gonna write the whole next album at the bottom of the pool.
We'll record it down there too.
Is this a pool or like a big bathtub that happens to be outside?
It's a
No, it's a
pool.
pool.
Yeah, it's got a hot tub and a little like water
Gee.
fountain.
That's like, yeah, that's a real pool.
It's a
Oh,
real
you said
pool.
6 foot deep. Oh, I thought you meant like 6 foot wide. You know,
No,
it's like
yeah,
a,
6 feet deep.
That
So
would be
like
fun.
you could really stand on your tippy toes still when you're in the deep end.
Yeah.
What do you think about down there?
Oh, you don't want to know.
we do.
I think that's why they talk.
What would you think about down there?
I don't know.
Now
I haven't been. I haven't been able
I'm
to do
gonna
it.
try it. Yeah.
Yeah, can I come in my wetsuit and can I
Oh, anytime.
Yeah, anytime.
I would love nothing more.
spend an afternoon at the bottom of the pool?
Yeah.
Sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, not your typical pool day, but it's nice.
Come over to my pool. We'll go sit at the bottom of it and stream pool day at Daniel's.
Daniel, I see a lot of the fans are asking what's going on with all my friends.
All my friends, man, that's a good one. I think management was kind of heated that I leaked that, but you know,
We wrote it on the
people
last
needed to
Europe
hear the
tour.
music. Yeah, we wrote that one.
We should revisit that one.
It's a
That
great
one's
song.
Yeah, no, that one is definitely a catchy one.
Yeah.
It's a song and it's alive and flourishing somewhere.
Yeah. I think it's pretty different than what a lot of this album is.
Yeah.
At least musically. The album leans a little bit more rock in some places, a little bit more alternative, kind of like pop rock in a couple spots. But I mean, there is a song on there that's like, you know, a little more like EDM.
Yeah.
I'd be super down to revisit it though, and like see if we can add some different.
I do think if you like All My Friends and this album, it's gonna make you just like because man, a lot of growth in the last even like 6 months.
Growth in what ways?
Musically, I think for a long time when we were writing, we were trying to write kind of what we knew people would like and want to hear. And I think the second we had a song really stand out and feel special on this album, we really started writing every song kind of down that path of like, this is different but really cool. Like it just sounds very ahead and fresh and like just so unique.
I think for me also with quarantine, it gave me a chance to like I don't know, just grow as a human being. And being on tour for like 3 years straight, it's really easy when things come up in my head or I'm feeling like sad or anxious about stuff. Like it was really easy to just have a distraction right away and, you know, go do the interviews and go perform and like not have to think about it. But, you know, when you're sitting in your room for 2 months straight, it starts, you know, things come up and you have to actually deal with them. And it's been a good last few months of just like really like figuring out like, yes, this is what I believe in. This is like, I don't know, just pushing myself in different ways and trying to learn every day.
Yeah, it's understanding yourself and then understanding where you need to go and how to grow. It's great and it's invaluable.
Yeah, especially at this age too. Like I feel like being this age in the industry, like especially coming up from when, you know, Zach was 15. When,
we were kids when we got into it. You know?
And like it's a very fast-paced industry, and it's one of those things where like, you know, you got to learn to be professional and you got to learn how to present yourself and just the whole thing, and you really step into your shoes pretty quickly. I know I stepped into a bunch of different shoes on you know on my way up, just trying to figure out like, who am I? Who do I want to be? Like, you know, how do I want to make people feel, and how do I want to change the world, kind of thing. And you know, getting into your early 20s, you start to grow up a bit more, and I mean, 21's like the magic age in America, at least. So like, you know, the world kind of opens up to you when you turn 21. So you got to kind of figure out, you know, who do I want to be? And like this break and all that touring has definitely like,
I think you'll feel that in the album.
Well, that's it. The album is going to be an example of that. Do you have a name for it?
100%.
Well, also, like, I feel like you could even relate to this as an interviewer. It's almost like you learn everything to then unlearn a lot of it and choose what you want to keep, right? So, like, you got to learn everything. And so even our own music, like how you were asking, you know, where's All My Friends? To me, I'm like, that was a year something ago. Like, I'm so down a different path now musically, and like it's like so fast paced too that you're just always, you know, trying to really grow and forward, you know, move forward. But yeah, it's this weird thing where you know, you gotta find out who you are with all of the knowledge that you pull in from this industry.
But the truth is, you got to learn all of it and then filter it yourself, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And then be like,
100%.
that's not me. I'm keeping this, you know, I like this. But yeah, it's crazy how much you actually have to learn to be in this industry. It's insane. And you would know all about that.
Jack, what are you doing? Are you biting your fingers?
Yeah.
What's the name of this album, Jack?
I can't tell you that.
Why?
You know that.
We do have a name though, I think.
Yeah, we've got one in mind.
In mind.
But dude, the album, it's
Hard
tough
to name.
because it's a very diverse album. Like as cohesive as it is diverse, which is what's really
That's
cool.
the sign of a great body of work, my friend.
Yeah, I'm really we're all really excited about it. But it's been tough to think of a name, honestly, because like
What embodies all of that?
What embodies all of the emotion? And so, yeah, we've got an idea, but you know,
One thing I
nothing's
will
official
say
yet.
is that when you listen from the album from top to bottom, like it tells a story. So like it tells a story of kind of a relationship and different parts of who we are and where we were in the time of writing.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because we didn't write it with the intention of it being a whole story.
No, it
and
just
then,
happened.
Like, as we listened through all of the songs and kind of, we're thinking about, what order do we want to present this body of work in, top to bottom. We were kind of listening to all the songs. We were like, wait
a second.
Like if we kind of put them in this order, they tell the story of a relationship and just kind of in little snippets, the stories of our relationships and just stories of stuff that we've experienced over the years and whatnot. So it was kind of ironic how that lined up like that.
That is a body of work that I'm excited to be able to listen to and learn from and then understand. And ultimately, it's cool. I think it's cool to be able to get to understand who you all are on a deeper level from these songs that, I don't know, been a long time coming. So please, when the album comes, let's sit down and dissect it. Maybe in person, hopefully, somehow, from a distance.
It'd be fun to like do that and like actually sit down and listen through each song and like just go deep into it. Because I mean, honestly, as much as we loved the old music, like we weren't fully able to do that because it was other people writing, you know what I mean? Like, so people would ask like, what does this song mean to you? And you can talk about how it makes you feel or what you felt when you first heard it, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is exactly where I was in my life. Yeah. And you know what I mean?
And this is why we wrote it this way.
Different.
Yeah, it's different.
Do you guys feel like you've officially gone from a man band to a band band?
Man, yeah, we're a band.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I'd say
Definitely
the switch up's definitely.
I feel like we're all still a man though. I still love the title.
Boy band to
yeah, I don't know
man-ish band.
I don't know what. We'll see, man. We're still evolving.
Yeah,
you never
but
know.
the whole album is very instrument based. Every track is, you've got Daniel playing cello or me or Jack playing electric guitar or bass, and then Jonas playing a lot of the piano parts or like the synth pads, and so it's. I mean,
like
every piece of it is from us.
Man,
it's really cool.
I do miss bands though. I feel like it's coming back and it gets me excited.
Yeah.
We're gonna have so much fun on tour, just like
rocking
out every night.
Stupid and dumb.
Yo, this is a new era of Why Don't We?
Yes,
Feels
sir.
like it.
This
Feels
is.
like
Yeah.
And it starts with Fallin, apostrophe at the end.
I don't know when this interview is going out or if we're live streaming right now, but it'll be out in, what time is it right now? It is 1:30. It's out in like 20 hours. Less than that, 19.
I ain't gonna sleep tonight.
God, dude.
Actually, yes, I will. We've done so many.
Yeah.
And we're dropping the song and the video at the same time as well. It'll be 9 a.m. tomorrow, Pacific time. So whatever that is globally in wherever you're watching from.
Do we let somebody else direct the video because you guys take on the burden of the music?
Yeah.
This guy named
Isaac Wentz.
Isaac Rentz, yeah. And we were super hands-on though, in like looking through the treatment and like saying what we liked.
Yeah. Corbin especially, he's got that aesthetic eye. You know those people that have like an extra cone in their eye that see more color? I think Corbin actually might have an extra eye cone because he sees color crazy. But he went in frame for frame with Isaac and they fixed up all the coloring. It looks crazy.
Yeah, it looks really great. And Isaac did a really, really great job of interpreting the song and creating a vision for it. And then we worked together really closely hand in hand on what shots we felt like were great. And like, there were even a couple shots that we were like, this idea could be cooler. And we went in and thought up a whole new idea. And there's a couple cool little references in the video that you'll see and you'll understand. But yeah, man, it's definitely the coolest, in my opinion, the coolest video that we've ever shot. And it's definitely the most different video. It's entirely different than any video anyone's ever seen from us before, which, and I think releasing the song and the video at the same time is going to be really cool and important because you're going to immediately be able to pair the visual with the song and
it's going to be like
it's going to be just like a 1-2 punch. And I think it's really cool.
I feel like during this time, like we've almost like we have different roles that we can play in the band and like kind of I feel like obviously Daniel's like insane with producing and has melodies, and Corbin has like this like aesthetic thing where he can like think about like how's this gonna look on the Instagram, and like how's like fashion forward, and like Jack's fully like his fashion is wild, and like
he's hilarious,
and he's so funny, and also has like that high register voice, which is just insane. I feel like Zach, I mean, he's just got that like star thing going on. Like, he's just got like that buttery like vocal, like for hooks and stuff like that. I feel like I bring a strong suit of like lyricism.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
for sure.
Jonah
So
got
a lot of
lyrics.
the words and concepts on the album come from Jonah's mind, and like they're very intricately thought about.
But it's kind of cool because we've morphed into this like working machine where like if we all come together and work on something, which is what happened, it's like we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And it took 4 years to get there. Why don't we? A new era starts with Fallin. There's a link in the description below if you haven't heard it. Last question, Daniel. What?
Yeah, my last question is, was it hard keeping all of this a secret? Like, did anybody almost slip?
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was. I wanted
mean,
to come out with it so bad.
Yeah.
It's like it's like hard because you know you got the sauce and you just want to let people taste it.
Exactly. Like, man, it's tough too because, you know, we've been sitting with some of the records for a year, and you're like, man, like a year ago I was just like, and I still love the song, but like that excitement a year ago, if you could just share that with the world. It's
I'm
like
excited
something
for
else.
the fans to feel that excitement.
Exactly.
Like,
I think it's gonna rekindle the fire.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back to it.
Beautiful. Why don't we? I appreciate and love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you guys so
thank you,
much.
Zach and Dan,
Love.
for having
Thank
us.
you guys.
And love you, Zach.
Good talk.
Later, guys.
Hey, beautiful human, thanks for watching our full interview, but I get it. Like, a full interview is a lot, so we got a clips channel. We don't expect you to watch the full thing anymore, so we just gave you the highlights. Please subscribe and notifications and all that stuff. Okay, cool. I love you.